Disclaimer.
Girls, what inappropriate questions about guys have you always wanted answered? Is it offensive to ask you to wash your dick before oral? Not if it's already established that you're going to suck my dick. Man, I'll wash your fucking car if that's what it took. Washing my dick is nothing. Plus, I'd much rather have an enthusiastic blowjob than a oh god this kinda smells, but I don't want to be rude, but ugh, he better finish soon blowjob. So if you want it cleaned or trimmed or you want me to cut out a felt cape for it and draw an S on the underside of it, just let me know, whatever it takes to make you more into it. Do you masturbate thinking of your partner or some actress? Partner? Yes. Some actress? Yes. Porn? Yes. Nothing at all, I'm just horny? Yes. Scratching the balls, then one thing led to another? Yup. When a guy gets whiskey dick, is he still in the mood for sex but just can't keep an erection? He's physically incapable of getting or keeping an erection. Alcohol is a vasodilator, so it literally prevents an erection. Can some guys not have this? I can get hard pretty drunk even into blackout but usually can't come. Do any of you genuinely enjoy how women taste down there? Or do you fake it? I have never faked my enthusiasm for cunnilingus. Read that in Bill Clinton's voice. It varies tremendously even with the same girl. One time I could barely stop because it tasted so good. Other times, not so much. The thing stopping me once was actually a tired tongue. It's like lifting weights with your pinky. If you don't practice, you won't have much endurance. Every girl has a different taste. The best ones for me personally taste sweet. Sweet pussy exists? I've only ever tasted coins. My sweet little pile of pennies. As long as they are hygienic, then absolutely. I would think going downtown is one of those things that's pretty obvious if you're faking it. There's got to be a big difference between someone that is really into what they are doing down there and ones that aren't. I've always wanted to know what it feels like to stick your dick in someone. Okay, once you get past the individuality, there are some things that seem to be the same across the board. The first thing is the heat. Imagine pouring water that's about the temperature of a really hot shower or bath across your clitoris, and only the clitoris. That first shock of how hot it is. That's about where the temperature of the vagina is once you're inside it. Yeah, you could feel the same temperature with your finger, but it isn't the same as with a penis. The cock is much more sensitive. Next is the wetness, assuming you've done a good job during foreplay and no issues interfering. It's slick for sure, but there's this slight drag to it. I think of it like being between honey and syrup. So, if you take a super thick syrup, warm it up to the high 90s Fahrenheit, then put it on your clit, and rub it in a little, messy and not ideal, but it's the closest I can think of, you'd be right about the sensation of the heat and slipperiness. For a little while anyway. Inside the vagina, it gets warmer and wetter as you thrust, usually. Now, the texture. Frankly, it's not that different texture-wise than what you can feel with a finger. But the penis is more sensitive, so you feel the friction more. The closest I can compare it is like running just your fingertips over very fine silk. I can't think of any way to roughly duplicate the feeling though. But the thing that really makes it unique compared to any other form of sex is the pressure. Once you slide inside, it surrounds you. When you thrust in, there's a slight resistance from the way the vagina seals around you. And when you're pulling out, there's this slight suction. But most important is the way it squeezes. Even if the last isn't actively squeezing, it's like this hot, wet, tight sleeve just pulsing around you. The closest thing I can think of would be if your partner worked on your clit with just their lips and suction, sort of like giving it a mini BJ. It's fucking incredible. And if the lady is adding in contractions, there's really no way to describe how amazing that part is. But if you insert your finger into your rather tightly formed fist and move it in and out while squeezing, you'll get the basic idea. And when the lady has her orgasm. Gods, it's insane. Because that squeezing intensifies, but it becomes more like a pulsing thing, usually from the entrance upwards, like this starving mouth that wants to suckle you until every drop is gone. It's the best thing ever. Yes, some are tighter than others. And it certainly changes the sensations. But I can't say that any level of tightness is better or worse. Just different, but that may just be me. Some guys say they prefer it tighter. Myself, while it's more intense when tighter, there's a level of almost a caress when things are less so. It's nice either way. I can't say I've ever noticed any difference in texture, like ridges or anything. Once a woman is aroused and blood is filling the tissues, there's not really any variations in the surface inside. But labia. You can feel a lot of individuality there. You usually only feel it when sliding in at first, though some ladies have extra full labia minora, and sometimes they'll grip a bit more around the shaft. That can be very nice. Very, very nice, lol. Now, let's say your lady wants to start off without foreplay. It can be fun, and I've had partners request it occasionally. In that case, you can for sure tell the differences between individuals. Some ladies have a bit more surface variation at the entry to the vagina. Others are almost perfectly smooth. It's not like a huge difference, but it's detectable. Plus, the way the labia minora grip you is rather intense. Almost painful if you go too fast. Oh. And afterwards. Particularly if you're with a partner and aren't using condoms for whatever reason, once you've come and start to shrink. There's this way that the vagina sort of holds on to you. It's like a really long kiss in a way. Slight suction, lots of moisture, and this almost tickling ripple as you come out. Incredibly unique sensation. Comparing things to other forms of sex, nothing beats vagina. It feels like this welcoming, loving home. It's like hugging your lover and knowing that you're home. Yay, vagina! Imagine sticking your finger very slowly into thick, warm banana pudding. Then imagine your finger is 10x as sensitive and you really love banana pudding. Kinda like that. Off to buy some banana pudding. I need to get laid. Don't we all? I've never been more proud to have a vagina. I've never read anything else that so completely satisfied my curiosity about what men felt during sex. And also made me feel like there is magic between my legs. Jesus. Anyone need to smoke after that? No, but I feel like a starving prisoner who's just been forced to watch a cooking show marathon. Something. Steak sauce and bib, please. Something. This guy fucks. All he did was copy and paste his dissertation. BRB, need a dick in me. Edit, RIP my inbox. I should have known. Edit 2, any virgins in this list? Hey, it's me, your friend Dick. Hey, thanks a lot for this. I've always been curious about how it feels for men. Now I have new appreciation for my vagina. Is there a difference on how vaginas feel? Oh yes. Just as varied as penises. There are large vaginas and small vaginas. Really wet ones and drier ones. Oh, the places you'll go and the things you'll see. Would you eat them in a box? Would you eat them with a fox? Could you in a box? Could you with a fox? Quite. I had a girlfriend that it was near impossible to have sex with, she was so tight. I have an average penis, so it's not like I'm packing, but it was just super tight. Then I've had sex with someone where I almost didn't even need to guide it in. I just got sucked up in there. I love both of these and everything in between. How often do you guys acknowledge the attractiveness of other guys? Not necessarily tell them, but do you guys ever think of this dude is hot or something like that in passing? For me, it's not very often, purely because my judge of other guys' attractiveness levels is awful. I can tell if a guy is super ugly or super attractive, like my 1-2S and my 9-10S, but all the in between, it's like I'm completely blind. I only notice guys that are hotter than me, and think to myself, you sexy motherfucker, fuck you. Shit, I don't even know where I'd fall on a 1 to 10 scale. It's a go-to position that allows us to thrust at whatever pace we want while not being in a super awkward position. Plus grabbing the girl's hips and you can get a few good different angles from the same position. And you can make silly faces and she won't know. Know it's better when you know there's a mirror or something reflective nearby. That way, if she looks at it suddenly, she sees you making faces and starts laughing and tightens that core. The only downside from my female experience of doggy is not being able to see the action. I like to watch. Doggy is my favorite because of the depth and angle anyway, but that mirror was a total game changer. What's it like getting your balls touched by your partner? Why don't some guys not like it? If you hurt balls by mistake, it can ruin the day actually. Balls are sensitive things, to the point where any wrong touch can be very uncomfortable and/or painful. So, my reaction when someone touches them? Usually a jolt of tension shoots through my spine. It's kind of a pleasure in pain sort of discomfort for me. Most, and I do mean most, women have no idea how to properly handle testicles, too much roughhousing going on by women who don't understand just how painful it can be. So, it's hard to let go and trust her with these nuts. Great until they think they are mini punching bags or a rope swing. Very sensitive there. Feels amazing, I could imagine overwhelming for some. Clits vary, some are super sensitive and the lightest brush is the edge of her tolerance, others want you to dig your thumb into it like you're using it to massage her tailbone. Balls have that whole spectrum in one package. The outer skin feels good, rub it, touch it, nibble on it. But if you get the slightest hint of ball pinch, boom, game over. You just took a sledgehammer to a super sensitive clit. Some guys probably just set up orange cones around that area because they've had bad experiences with some drunk or inexperienced chick and just don't want to risk it. My first handjob was fucking traumatizing. Hell, I don't even know if it was a handjob, I never came, I limped the whole way out of the theater, and I had echoing pains for days. I think she was literally jerking the whole nutsack along with the dick, but I was so enthralled with the whole bit about a girl touching my junk that I didn't say a word. That was long ago and I don't get terrors when someone visits the area today, but that's probably all it is. Referring to the best blowjob you've ever had, what made it the best? It was unexpected. She was into it, she wasn't doing it for me, she was doing it for herself. She was honest about point 2 and thanked me afterward. Oddly enough, patience. She just relaxed and settled into it like she wanted nothing more in the world than to swirl her tongue around my dick. She wasn't trying to give it a hickey or an Indian burn, not trying to churn butter with her lips, just fucking loving and adoring that dick like it was her best friend. And I came hard. Totally counterintuitive, but it worked. It works on women too. Slow down, settle into it, enjoy it, and when she realizes you're not trying to make her come sooner so you can move on, she actually comes faster. She was unabashed and totally unself-conscious about it. I once had a friend who said her boyfriend didn't like getting blowjobs, read, she gave crappy BJs. I asked her if she enjoyed giving them. She said no, I'm really self-conscious because he's kind of long and sometimes it makes me gag and I know he must think that's really gross. I had to explain to her that her gagging because of his length is about the best compliment she could give him. Told her not to worry about what she looked or sounded like anymore and just go to town and do whatever she wanted. Boyfriend literally called me a week later to say thank you. She was very much excited, I liked her a lot and she looked really sexy doing it. If you want advice, I can tell you what I like to feel, but I don't know if it's the same for everyone. Concentrate the pressure on the shaft, whether with your mouth or hands, and occasionally, like 1 on every 5 strokes, go for the tip. Then, when it's time to come, do the opposite, go mostly for the head, but with some big strokes all along, while caressing the testicles. My girlfriend asked me for precise instructions on how I wanted it, and that was the best I could think of. It works every time. What do guys think about during sex? It depends on whether we're trying to speed things up or slow things down. My wife asked me how it is I can orgasm on command, and I had to explain to her it isn't that I can orgasm on command, it's that I spend the whole time trying not to. Like how Bruce Banner is always angry. That's my secret, I'm always coming. ABC, always be coming. When we send you guys unexpected suggestive, nude pics, what is your first reaction and what do you do with them after? Save them, use them, delete them, look at them and then forget about it? I can't tell you how many times I've sent pics and heard nothing back at all, so I wonder if they're appreciated or what. Edit, lol, the guy in question is my so of 5+ years. In my mind, he gets them, sees them, and then goes right back to whatever he was doing. Thanks for satiating my curiosity. The first is a compliment. The second is to stare. Third, save for later. Fourth, use. Why are guys so non-expressive during sex? We're worried about sounding stupid or saying something dumb during a time when we're not exactly in full control of our minds. Better to be silent and be thought a fool than to speak and remove all doubt. On the contrary, I personally get really turned on by the sounds of a girl enjoying it, so I tend to be more quiet because her loans are much more of a turn on than my ape grunts and heavy breathing. This is just me personally and why I'm quiet when I make bang. Oh, tell me more about your interest rates. You can also watch other videos by going to the channel. I will be pleased if you like them.